Nothing looks wrong, but your fish is under stress, and you'd never guess why. Because the problem isn't in the water, it's in the decor. That's exactly what we're covering today. 6 decoration mistakes aquarium owners make without realizing it, quietly pushing their fish into chronic stress. Every single one looks innocent. Some are even done deliberately because they look nice. But each one is a constantly firing alarm inside your fish's brain. Mistake number 6 is the most common, the easiest to fix, and the one almost nobody ever thinks of. 1. No hiding spots. You're setting up your aquarium. You're thinking aesthetically. You want a clean, open, minimalist look. No plants, no caves, no driftwood, just fish and water. Sounds beautiful. For the fish, it's a disaster. In nature, no fish lives in a completely open environment. Evolution shaped every species for a specific habitat. Roots, plants, rocks, muddy substrate. These structures aren't decorative. They're the physical equivalent of the signal, "This place is safe." Without these structures in the aquarium, the fish lives in a permanent state of high alert. A predator could come at any moment. There's nowhere to escape. Cortisol never comes down. According to a 2022 study, fish living in environments with limited physical structure displayed significantly higher interspecies aggression than those in structurally enriched environments. Stress doesn't just affect the individual, it disrupts the entire tank dynamic. And here's the paradox. Fish with no hiding spots hide more. They sit in corners. They show little interest in food. Their colors fade. You look at this and think, is it sick? But it isn't sick. It doesn't feel safe. The solution doesn't have to be expensive. A piece of driftwood, a few clusters of artificial plants, a small ceramic tube. Each fish just needs at least one area it can call its own. That space is the physical equivalent of the message, "This is mine. This is safe." 2. Letting the dominant fish see the entire tank. This mistake is usually created by doing the exact opposite of what seems like the right thing. "I want my fish to be able to see each other," you say. Decor kept low, sight lines open, tank unobstructed. And sure enough, every fish can see every other fish. For the dominant fish, this is the ideal environment to establish total control. In the cichlid family, in betas, even in species that appear calm on the surface, hierarchy exists. If the dominant individual can constantly observe everyone else, it can constantly assert dominance. Subordinates can't find visual refuge to escape to. At every feeding, during every peaceful swim, they can't get out from under the dominant fish's gaze. This is called chronic visual pressure, and it creates serious stress even without a single physical attack. Research shows that subordinate individuals under these conditions consistently struggle to eat, experience slower growth, and have weakened immune systems. From the outside, it looks like 2 fish living together. From the inside, one of them is under relentless pressure. The fix is breaking those lines of sight. Tall plants, vertically positioned driftwood, rock formations. The dominant fish should not be able to survey the entire space in a single glance. When invisible zones are created inside the tank, subordinate fish finally get to breathe, in every sense of the word. A specific recommendation for cichlid tanks, the honeycomb layout. Instead of placing one large rock pile in the center, create separate rock groups at each end of the tank. 2 dominant individuals establish separate neighborhoods with a neutral zone between them that neither claims. Fighting drops dramatically. 3. Constantly rearranging the decor. This mistake comes from a good place, which is exactly why it's so easy to overlook. I change it so the fish don't get bored. I wanted a new look. I just wanted to try something different. But for fish, consistency means safety. Every fish maps its tank. What's in which corner? Which route leads where? Who owns which territory? All of it is learned and encoded. This mental map is what makes daily life predictable, and predictability reduces stress. When you rearrange the decor, that map gets wiped. The fish is starting over in an unfamiliar environment. Every territory has to be redefined. The hierarchy has to be reestablished. This process is genuine stress. There are situations where this is used intentionally. Changing the decor when introducing a new fish is a deliberate strategy to reset the dominant fish's claimed territories, and it works.
But when it's done routinely out of curiosity or aesthetic preference, the fish suffer for it. The rule is simple. Decor changes should be a tool, not a habit. And when you do make changes, favor small adjustments over complete overhauls. Rather than tearing everything out and rebuilding, move one piece, add or remove one object. The fish adapts to a small change with curiosity. A large change triggers panic. If you want to learn about issues like these before they happen to you, consider subscribing to the channel. 4. Leaving no open swimming space. This mistake looks like the exact opposite of mistake 1, but it leads to the same outcome: stress. Some owners fill the entire tank with decor. Hiding spots, plant clusters, driftwood, it's all there. But there's no swimming room, no open space in the middle column, the upper area, or open water to move through. Zebra danios, neon tetras, harlequin rasboras, these species are evolutionarily built to swim in open water in schools. Constant movement, constant space. When they can't do that, stress behaviors begin. But the opposite error exists too. Some owners leave everything open because they think the fish need room to swim. For bottom-dwelling species, rocky habitat species, and nocturnal species, this is also a mistake. The fix is finding the balance based on the species. For open water species, at least 60 to 70% of the middle and upper column should remain open. Decor should be positioned along the sides and back. For bottom-dwelling and shelter species, even if the middle is open, the bottom and edges should be structurally rich. And if both types share the same tank, each layer should be designed for its own inhabitants. Upper level open, lower level structured. This creates balance that works both visually and functionally. 5. A layout that doesn't match the fish's natural behavior. This is the most overlooked mistake on the list, because catching it requires knowing the nature of your fish, and most people don't research that. Let's go through some concrete examples. Corydoras. In the wild, they live on riverbeds in soft sand. Those whiskers aren't decorative. They're sensitive sensory organs used to sift through substrate, searching for food. On coarse gravel, those whiskers gradually get damaged. The fish can no longer perform this natural behavior. Stress begins, immunity drops. Betta. In the wild, they live near the surface in calm, shallow water. They rest on broad leaves and periodically rise to the surface to breathe air. But in a deep tank with strong current and no structure, a betta can't do any of this. It fights the current constantly and can't find a surface to rest on. Oscar. Large, curious, intelligent. It examines every object in the tank, moves things around, rearranges. This fish needs things it can interact with and manipulate. A completely fixed, untouchable decor arrangement is serious stimulation deprivation for this species. Pleco. Prefers to hide during the day and become active at night. Surfaces it can shelter against and grip with its mouth are essential during daylight hours. Flat glass and smooth plastic decor don't meet this need. This list goes on, but the core message is this: every species has a natural habitat template. The closer the tank comes to that template, the less stress the fish carries. This isn't just a welfare issue. It directly affects color, activity level, and lifespan. When you get a fish, or before you get one, ask yourself one question. In the wild, what does this fish cling to? Where does it hide? How does it move? The answer should form the foundation of your tank setup. 6. Decor and background choices that cause reflections. The most common, the easiest to fix, and the one almost nobody ever thinks of. The inner surface of the glass, a dark background, shiny decor surfaces, or low ambient light conditions. All of these can turn certain areas of the tank into a mirror, and the fish reads its own reflection as a rival. We touched on this in a previous video in the context of glass surfing, but this time we're looking at it from a different angle. Reflections can be created by the decor itself: shiny plastic decor, metallic coated objects, dark and smooth background panels. These are all reflection surfaces. When a fish approaches them, it sees itself. It flares. It goes into a defensive posture. Then the reflection disappears. Then it comes back. This cycle runs for hours, for days. And the most critical detail? The fish can never win this fight because there is no rival. But the instinct keeps running at full strength.
cortisol stays chronically elevated. Immunity slowly erodes. Betta owners are among those who experience this most. With its extremely strong territorial reflex, a betta can spend hours locked in combat right next to a single shiny piece of decor. The fix comes in 3 steps. First, close off the back. A matte, opaque background film or paint dramatically reduces reflections. Second, avoid high-gloss decor. Metallic or high-shine objects create reflection surfaces inside the tank. Matte finish, natural-looking decor minimizes this problem. Third, increase ambient light. It sounds counterintuitive, but reflections form under low external light conditions. When the room is well lit, the glass stops behaving like a mirror. Most hobbyists who make these 3 changes will observe a behavioral shift within a few days. Glass surfing will decrease. The fixation on certain corners will disappear. Color will change. Sometimes the smallest adjustment makes the biggest difference. Your fish might be under stress right now, and you may have no idea, because the problem isn't in the water, it's in the decor. And decor isn't a visible, testable parameter. It just sits there, looking innocent and beautiful, while firing a constant alarm inside your fish's brain. Here's what you learned today. No hiding spots means the fish is permanently on edge. If the dominant fish can see everything, subordinates never get a moment's peace. If the decor keeps changing, the mental map keeps getting erased. If the space balance isn't matched to the species, the wrong signal is being sent. If the natural behavior template isn't met, quality of life drops. And if there are reflections, an invisible war never ends. Fixing even one of these can change your fish's life, just like a like and a subscribe can change this channel's life. In the next video, I'll explain why your fish follows you around the room when you move. If you don't want to miss it, the button is right below. See you under the water.